Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Tech Gamers World. In this video, we're going to be unboxing, setting up, and reviewing the 5-in-1 HDMI switch from ByteWave. Are these budget-friendly HDMI switches any good? Well, stay tuned. Let's find out. Okay everyone, welcome back. So as I said in the introduction to this video, here's the 5-in-1 HD video switch from ByteWave, and a huge thank you to ByteWave for sending this to me to check out. All opinions expressed in this video are of course my own. With that said, before we get started here, if you could click that like button, and if you could subscribe or follow me at Tech Gamers World here, that would be totally awesome. I am always making new and exciting content from the world of video games and technology, and they are dropping all the time, not to mention the occasional live stream. So with that said, let's get to it. So this is the 5-in-1 HD video switch from ByteWave. This is the H11 series, and on the front here, it shows some of the specs of the device here. It includes 4K 60Hz capabilities, a remote control, HDR, and 3D. On the back here, we have some standard information about what's in the package. The video switch, so 5 in, 1 out. That means 5 HDMI inputs and 1 output. The remote control, a USB charging cable, the user guide, and a warranty card. Some notices and information here about the device, including, connect the power before making the connections, of course, and then warranty and support and other regulatory information. So let's get this opened up, shall we? This should be pretty straightforward here. Ah, nice. Comes in some plastic holders here. So we have the user guide here, after sale benefits, including support and warranty related information. And on the back here, it shows how to connect up the devices. So you can connect things like game consoles, PCs, DVD players, set-top boxes, laptops, and then output to TV, monitors, projectors, etc. So then it says step 1, connect the USB-C power cable to a power supply for the 5-in, 1-out HDMI switch. Connect up to 5 devices, and then connect your display device. Unable to achieve 1-in, multiple-out function if you do not use the connected power supply, of course. So what that means is basically because this is HDMI and 5 devices, it needs to be powered to boost the signal through. It won't provide upscaling, but it will boost the signal. So let's take a look here at the user guide, shall we? Here is the user guide showing an overview, specifications, how to use the device, and power requirements. So the device must be plugged into the power cord using the included USB-C power cable. For stable operation, use 5-volt 1-amp power. Insufficient power may cause abnormal usage. High power chargers exceeding 5 volts 1 amp may cause product damage, so avoid high powered chargers. One only supports one-way transmission, so the HDMI in to the TV out, and that's it. Connecting one laptop to 5 monitors via this device is not feasible. So it's just telling you some information here about what you can and cannot do. Audio limitations: you cannot connect the soundbar directly to these products. That is typical. Frequently asked questions: no signal and tech support. So this should be awesome. So it says here, for stable 4K 60Hz transmission, the combined total length of both the input and output HDMI cables should ideally be kept within 3 meters, 10 feet. That is true. If you were using copper HDMI cables, there are distance limitations on sending signals greater than 1080p. So with that said here, let's check out the device. So here it is. It's very small, very lightweight, all aluminum chassis, which is good here. We've got the 4K 60Hz 5-in 1-out HDMI switch, and then the 5 input buttons so you can change between. And on the back here are the 5 inputs, and then the output on the side here is where the power goes. So all pretty straightforward there. Here we've got your standard infrared remote control, and then you can select between the 5 devices, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then press next to move next in order. Pretty straightforward. Here we have the USB-A to USB-C cable. Now, to charge this device or power this device will require you to provide a power source, such as a iPhone adapter, power supply, or anything like that that accepts a USB-A. I do dock the companies and give them a little ding for not providing a power supply with these devices. It's become the norm to only supply the cable, and I think that is not fair, because a non-technical person may not know exactly what they need and could risk breaking the device simply because of not understanding how to connect up the power. So with that said here, through the magic of the internet, we're going to get this connected up to our devices here. We will be using a Apple TV, an NES Classic, a Nintendo Switch 2, a Microsoft Xbox Series X, and a Sony PlayStation 5 for our testing with this here. So give us 3 seconds here and let's get this done. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I've gone ahead now and I've got the 5-in-1 switch all set up here and connected. So as you can see, it looks exactly the same. Here's the controller, all set up. So I set up my inputs based on the order in which I use them the most. So it all varies for whatever you want. If you want your Nintendo Switch to be on 2, you put it in 2. You want your DVD player to be in 3, your cable box to be in 4, your Xbox to be in 5. It's whatever you want. I recommend always just writing down the order and sticky noting it somewhere, just so that you remember. So you're not cycling through going, oh, where did I put the Nintendo Switch? So I remember here. So here is the Nintendo Switch. Next up, if I push next, it will change. Now it does take a second to change in between. Here is my NES Classic. And then we'll move to the next one. This should be my Microsoft Xbox Series X. There it is. And if we move to the next one, this should be my Sony PlayStation 5. There it is. And if we go again, we will be back to the Nintendo Switch 2. I've set it up with my 4 main used gaming devices. So there we are, the Nintendo Switch 2. So this Switch is awesome. It is a budget-friendly, 4K capable, 60 Hz Switch, and I can actually show you that now. So if you go down on your Nintendo Switch 2 or any device that supports it and go to the display and the dock output information, in this case, this is how you do it on the Nintendo Switch 2, you will see the resolution is 3840 by 2160. That is 4K. The refresh rate is 60 Hz. HDR is outputting. With HDR and without HDR is the same. Now, because this is a budget-friendly device, I did notice that it does not support 120 Hz in 4K. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that at all. 120 Hz is still not a widely used thing. The average gamer, even some of the higher end gamers like myself, can't differentiate between 60 Hz or 120 Hz. That's perfectly okay. This Switch supports 60 frames per second. That's what matters. It's more the frames per second than the Hertz, in my personal opinion. So this HDMI Switch is awesome. It is small, it's lightweight, it's easy to power. I'm powering it with a old iPhone charging adapter that I have. An iPad one works, an Android one works, anything that takes a USB-A. And we are ready to get back to gaming. So a huge thank you to ByteWave for sending this to me. I will put a link in the description and comment section of this video for this 5-in-1 HD video switch from ByteWave. If you're interested, click on the link, check it out. Super affordable, super budget friendly, and super awesome. So thanks a lot, everybody. As always, if you can click that like button, follow me, subscribe to me here at Tech Gamers World, that would be totally amazing. I'm always dropping new content from the world of video games and technology all the time. And as always, like I keep saying, I would love for you to be part of my journeys. So would link there. So thanks a lot, everybody, and I will see you around. Keep on gaming.